Hi, welcome to Yvonne Meets Food, where I share my passion for making food, eating food, as well as traveling the world to discover even more delicious food. In 2020, unfortunately, there wasn't much traveling the world given the global pandemic. So instead, I traveled through my own backyard of New York to discover new places to eat. As part of a 4-part series covering 4 out of 5 boroughs, I'll be traveling across New York City and sharing with you my favorite spots I discovered in 2020 that you absolutely need to try in 2021. In today's episode, we'll be traveling through Queens, the most diverse borough in New York City and likely the most diverse landmass on the entire planet. Let's get started. So now we're leaving Brooklyn and going north to Queens, which is the original borough that I lived in when I first moved to New York City. Queens is incredible because it is oftentimes known as one of the most diverse places on earth, with over 100 cultures and languages known and spoken there. Of course, that's also going to mean that the food is going to be incredible. And I oftentimes go back to Queens pre and during the pandemic because the food is so good. So we're gonna start in Forest Hills in Queens at a spot called Spicy Cuisine. So it sounds like spicy, but it's Spicy, the letter C. And they are a Sichuanese restaurant that has all kinds of delicious and spicy dishes on offer. And so the dish that we got when we went were the spicy fish fillets with soft tofu and chilies. It was spicy, but not too spicy. It had just the right amount of heat, and it was very well balanced. The tofu was really soft and silky, and the fish fillets were just nice and like slippery on the tongue, which is perfect for this type of dish. It also has very friendly service, and they also had outdoor dining that was pretty ample as well. Now we're moving on to Rego Park in Queens, so we're getting a little bit closer to Manhattan. And this spot, not gonna lie, I actually have been here before the pandemic, but we went here during the pandemic just to have some meat, and it was so good, and just as I remembered it. So this spot is called Sticks. It's a Georgian restaurant that specializes in lots of grilled meats, kebabs, samsas, all kinds of delicious foods that are just going to sate all of your cravings if you are a meat eater. So when we were here during the pandemic, we got the delicious lamb kebabs, the samsa. Samsa is basically a little flaky pastry that has minced meat or mushrooms inside. They were so good, super juicy. It was almost just as good as eating it in the restaurant. We actually ate it out in a park across the street from the restaurant because they weren't allowing indoor dining and did not have outdoor dining at the time when we went, but it was so freaking delicious. It's not a cheap spot, it's quite expensive. It's probably a multiple dollar sign spot, but it's one of those places that you absolutely have to visit if you're having a meat craving and you of course have some cash to spare. Kind of feel like we're moving along the 7 train because now we are in Woodside Queens. So Woodside Queens is oftentimes known as having a really big Thai population in Queens. And this spot is actually not a restaurant per se, it's actually a teeny tiny supermarket. It's called Three Aunties Market. I've been wanting to come here for a long time, didn't finally get here until the pandemic. But it is one of those places that you absolutely have to go to if you even remotely like Thai food. They have Thai ingredients that are of course imported from Thai, endless varieties despite the size. They have all kinds of different things, multiple varieties of things like shrimp paste to galangal to anything that you could possibly want if you're trying to cook Thai cuisine. And hey, if you don't want to cook Thai cuisine, they actually have Thai food that is ready to eat. So they actually have a little section in the back where they have a bunch of different Thai takeout things that you can order. Some things are already prepared so you can just pay for it and go. But the service is super friendly there. If you ever have questions about what ingredients to buy, what are their favorite brands, they are more than happy to help you and to also give recommendations based on what you're looking for. I love this little spot. They've got fresh ingredients like makrut lime leaves, galangal, and they also have lots of canned and packaged goods as well. Another spot we discovered in Woodside is I Love Paraguay, which has Paraguayan cuisine. And we'd never actually had Paraguayan cuisine, at least not that I am aware of, until the pandemic and until we found this spot. We have lots of delicious grilled meats on the menu. A lot of them come on sizzling platters straight to your table. But when we were there for a light lunch, so we ordered the chipa guazu, which is basically a cheese and corn casserole, also known as a souffle because of how fluffy it is. We also have the delicious empanadas, and there are many delicious desserts on the menu. I believe that we had a passion fruit dessert that was a little bit custardy, and it was super yummy, had a very, very rich passion fruity flavor. So if you're in the area, definitely check it out. And the last spot in Woodside that we went to during the pandemic that I love super, super much, and again, this is kind of a cheat because it is not a place that I had only during the pandemic, but it is a Yada Thai. It is one of my all-time favorite Thai restaurants here in New York City. It is super authentic, super delicious, super, super spicy. If you order spicy, get ready to have your mouth burn during this time at the restaurant. This is the place that has my absolute favorite tom yum goong or tom yum soup. It is super spicy, super fragrant, and they also have my favorite lab, which is basically like a minced meat salad. Oh, when I think about it, my mouth is literally just watering. The lab, if you order it spicy, you will need a lot of Thai iced tea to calm all of that heat in your mouth. They were also very prepared for the pandemic. They built a lot of outdoor structure for outdoor dining. And so they have a lot of ample space for you to sit and dine outdoors safely. And it was just really, really nice to see the entire street blocked off when we visited so that it was safe for people to eat outside and enjoy their delicious food. Oh, and the other thing I forgot that I also absolutely have to have when I go to Yada is the papaya salad. Also, make sure to order it spicy, live a little bit. If it's spicy, it's definitely gonna be Thai spicy, not American spicy. The other spot that we're going to go to is in Jackson Heights, so next door to Woodside. And that spot is going to be Las Americas Bakery. So this spot is a Colombian bakery that is, oh my God, it's so, so good. Everything on the menu is amazing. It's pretty much all in Spanish, so you may need to do a little bit of Google Translate if you don't understand Spanish. But their pan de bono, or their cheese breads, their buñuelos, which are basically like their fried cheese donut things, their freshly squeezed juices, everything that you can get that is bread on the menu, you must have. It is all things carby and all things cheesy combined into one. And I probably left with about 6 or 7 different baked goods that I ended up eating over the next few days, and I did not regret a single bite or a single dollar that I spent there. They have lots of delicious juices and smoothies that they all make to order. In Colombia, if you ever visit, it's basically like fresh fruit and fresh juice galore. So you absolutely cannot leave without having a freshly squeezed juice there. They even have fruits that are imported from Colombia that you can even request to be part of your fresh squeezed juice. And I went a little bit later in the day, so I didn't get coffee, but I've heard that the coffee here is phenomenal because, well, Colombia is known for having incredible coffee. And so if you go earlier in the morning and need a caffeine fix, this is definitely a place for you for coffee as well as for a delicious bread or pastry. Now, moving even closer to Manhattan and Queens, we're now in Jackson Heights. So this is also a cheat edition, but I couldn't not talk about this spot given we are talking about Jackson Heights. And so Maharaja Swedes is one of my all-time favorite Indian dessert places on earth. If you can imagine the complexities and the number of varieties of Indian sweets, this is the spot to go to. If you want barfi, you want ras malai, you want gulab jamun, you want milk cake, well, give me all of them because they're all super delicious and all amazing, made with different things like ghee, sugar, milk solids. Oh, all of them are just so, so good. It also has a savory section on the menu where you can get things like mixture or samosas. It's all vegetarian, but the service is very swift in there and they will definitely get you in and out in no time. But the variety, the sheer variety of desserts and sweets there that you can choose from, and you order by the weight, it is just mind-boggling. Every single time I go in there, I feel a little bit paralyzed because of decision paralysis, because I can't decide what I want to get. So I end up getting way more than I end up intending to get, which is very, very dangerous. But that's how good it is. Love this spot. The Woodside, Sunnyside, Elmhurst, and Jackson Heights area is certainly not lacking for Thai food, but Thon is a Thai restaurant that I discovered during the pandemic, and I absolutely love it. It is also very delicious, has incredible papaya salad, very friendly service, but most likely my favorite dish there is a hot Yai Fried Chicken. Hot Yai is actually an area in Thailand that is quite famous for their food, and the hot Yai Fried Chicken absolutely does not disappoint. It is strangely light considering that it is deep fried, but that's just a sign of how delicious it is. This spot is certainly a gem. Owned by a former sushi chef named Oda who worked in restaurants both in Japan and in Manhattan, 969 NYC Coffee is a small locally owned cafe that everyone needs in their neighborhood. They have an extensive coffee and drink menu, plenty of delicious Japanese-style sandwiches, fresh onigiri, or Japanese rice ball stuffed with everything from tuna to katsu to even umeboshi, or Japanese pickled plum. They also have a nice Japanese snack selection, along with counter seating indoors, plus a small patio in front of the cafe for outdoor dining. I'll be honest and say that I've only ever gotten one thing here between meals, and that is their super thick, super tasty, creamy avocado matcha smoothie. Strong matcha flavor with a good amount of sweetness, plus avocado creaminess to complement. A perfect pairing of flavors. It's lovingly and painstakingly made to order by Oda himself, and it's one of the most luscious, creamiest drinks, smoothies, ice cream indulgences you could possibly get. Make sure to ask for a spoon because you'll definitely need it. And in Jackson Heights, we also have Dosa Delight. Okay, again, being honest here, we did not go to this spot for the first time during the pandemic. In fact, we've been loyally coming here for over 10 years now, as this spot is our absolute favorite in all of New York City for delicious dosas, idlis, and other South Indian delights. Dosa Delight at the corner of 73rd Street and 37th Avenue has been going strong for over 35 years now, and they specialize in vegetarian and vegan Indian deliciousness. They make the best dosas, from the standard masala dosas to endless varieties of rava dosas, pav bhaji, puris, and the best lassis and Indian sweets. Every time we have out-of-town guests, we always haul them to Jackson Heights to eat here. The prices are insanely low, and their service is super warm and very attentive. They have limited outdoor seating as well, and are also available for takeout and delivery. You must come here. It's so good. Now we are on the super edge of Queens, really close to Manhattan, and we're in Astoria. And so the great thing about New York is that it's constantly changing in terms of not only the types of cultures that are represented, but also the types of food that are here. So when I first moved here in 2008, I really didn't think that the Vietnamese food was that great or special, with the exception of one or two places. But that's slowly changed. There's been a lot of new people that have come in and opened up really delicious modern Vietnamese food with authentic flavors. And one of those spots is called District Saigon in Astoria. They're a modern Vietnamese restaurant. They have a beautiful bar, really ample outdoor seating during COVID. And the dish that we got there that I still think about today is their Brisket Pho. It is freaking amazing. Just think of the best Texas style brisket that you've ever had, or at least imagine if you've never had it, paired with the most decadent, slow cooked pho broth that you've ever had. All of those things married together made for one of the most memorable bowls of pho that I've ever had in my freaking life. So good. I need to go back just to get a bowl of that. Last but not least at all, mall in Queens, particularly in Astoria, is a little bubble tea shop called Tea and Milk. Now this is probably one of my favorite bubble tea spots here in New York City, if not ever. They make everything from scratch. There's no mixes, no powders. If you get taro milk, it absolutely is milk blended with freshly boiled or steamed taro chunks. And everything on their menu is delicious. They have regular milk options, they have vegan options. They have an amazing lavender milk tea that I loved. It just has the right amount of floral without feeling like you're just eating flowers. And the bubbles or the boba are just very nice and soft and tender, a little bit chewy, but not too chewy. And they have since expanded since we visited there, and they've now opened a location in Chelsea Market. So a little bit more convenient for us to get to since we live in Manhattan. I just love Tea and Milk, but hey, you don't have to take my word for it, because Tea and Milk has actually been rated the #1 bubble tea spot in all of New York. Can you believe it? That taro milk is serious business, peeps. Okay, well, #1 rated on Yelp. And #1 rated to me too. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. I'd love to hear what your favorite place to eat in Queens is. Please remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive immediate notifications as soon as I upload my next video. And don't forget to stay tuned for my next episode, which will cover my favorite food discoveries in the Bronx, New York City. Thanks again for watching, and hope to see you here next time. Don't forget to live yummy.